Hello, everyone. So today we'll be talking about the 4 ways transformational leadership can revolutionize the success of an organization through improving its employees' mental health, effective communication, and creating community. Purpose and relevance. Purpose: to identify types of transformational leadership styles that can positively impact employees' mental health, improve effective communication in the workplace, and create an interactive community. Relevance: the importance of this topic is to bring awareness and research resources to leaders in the workplace to further help impact their employees in positive, effective ways. Improving the relationship between employees and leaders will ultimately improve morale and productivity in the workplace. Theory of Transformational Leadership. Transformational leadership, a form of leadership that uses a combination of charisma, interpersonal skills, and leaders' behaviors to transform followers' goals, motives, and behaviors. These types of leaders are able to transform their followers to pursue organizational goals over self-interest.
The four key behaviors of transformational leadership are inspirational motivation, idealized influence, individualized consideration, and intellectual stimulation. Inspirational motivation refers to the leader's ability to inspire confidence, motivation, and a sense of purpose in followers. The transformational leader must articulate a clear vision for the future, communicate expectations of the group, and demonstrate a commitment to the goals that have been laid out. This aspect of transformational leadership involves a motivational leader that is willing to push their peers to reach their goals through inspirational and motivational factors. This aspect is much like idealized influence, whereas the leader is demonstrating influential behaviors among the peers, although this aspect of transformational leadership is more motivational. The goal of this aspect of transformational leadership is to inspire and motivate. The leader inspires the peers through the leader's actions and motivates the peers to be able to accomplish the same tasks that are presented to them. Idealized influence is defined as having transformational leaders who behave in ways that result in their being role models for their followers. This aspect of transformational leadership revolves around influential role models and the impact that they have on the people that look up to these role models. Transformational leaders are intended to have positive influence amongst their peers, such as maintaining high standards and thorough practices, as well as demonstrating high levels of ethical conduct. These same high standards should be encouraged onto the peers by the role models so that the peers are to share the same high standard values. Individualized consideration is the leader presenting a caring environment for their peers. This can include building meaningful relationships with others or offering support to others around the workplace so that the working environment for the employees is much more enjoyable. This aspect of transformational leadership can result in positive relation building and the peers becoming more involved and committed in the company due to having a greater sense of belonging from the individualized consideration. Intellectual stimulation is the extent to which transformational leaders challenge assumptions, take risks, and solicit followers' ideas. They recognize followers through stimulation, creativity, and innovation. This aspect of transformational leadership encourages the peers to take risk and think of new ways of completing tasks. This could result in a better way of accomplishing a particular task. The prime motive of this aspect is to encourage creativity and innovation in peers and for them to be able to think on their own when presented with a similar task. This often leads to innovative solutions as the peers find new ways of solving problems.
Now let's take a look at transformational leadership's positive influence on the topics of mental health, communication, and community. Let's first look at mental health. The first example shows the transformational leadership approach of Reid Hastings, the CEO of Netflix. Now, a company as successful and global as Netflix, it is bound to require elevated service and commitment from its employees. An intense work schedule has the ability to weigh heavily on an employee's mental health, impacting their stress levels and emotions. Hastings' offering of personal time off and compensation packages gives employees an outlet to recuperate against the vastly evolving industry that they are in. They also are reminded that their work-life balance is valued at the company that they are a part of. The second example looks at Ross Perot. The second example looks at Ross Perot, a high-ranking IBM salesman turned multimillionaire who went on to found his own computer services company called the Perot Systems Corporation. Perot places a high level of belief and responsibility in his employees. This not only shows the company's faith in the employees, but also encourages them to develop an even stronger faith within themselves because of the authorities they've been entrusted with. Many departments may have more contact with customers than the leader of a company. With this in mind, Perot's employees have the opportunity to apply their first-hand expertise to the modification of company processes to make them more efficient and satisfactory for the customer. This would cause their self-esteem and job performance to increase because the company that they work for believes in them enough to give them autonomy and they feel deserving in recognition of their own success. Let's take a look at communication. The ability to communicate with the one leading a group can make all the difference in employee success, as seen with Obama's administration. Perceiving the leader of a company as being approachable may cause employees to feel disconnected from the company they represent and decrease their job satisfaction. Instead, former President Barack Obama exhibits a leader encouraging innovative ideas from those who work with him and welcoming them to propose them at any given time. The CEO of the clothing wear company Spanx, Sarah Blakely, is another great example of transformational leadership's use of communication. Now, it's one thing to have open communication about organizational topics, including employee expectations and innovative ideas. However, even more of a connection can be formed with the vulnerability of personal communication, especially when a leader can do so while encouraging those around them to do the same. Blakely pushes all of her employees to admit their mistakes because she makes them too. They don't have to be ashamed in the presence of the person who is their quote unquote boss because she makes it clear she is no better than them. This comfortable level of communication also creates community because everyone can be vulnerable with one another. The company becomes more of a family. Lastly, let's look at the topic of community. Assigning specialized tasks based on an employee's strengths gives them a sense of belonging in the organization as a whole and their respective departments. This was former Apple CEO Steve Jobs' approach to transformational leadership. Instead of being in charge of every aspect of Apple's dealings, Jobs learned that allowing his employees' strengths to shine in their respective areas allowed for collaboration that further promoted Apple's success. Former U.S. Secretary of State Dr. Condoleezza Rice inspired employees as a community to bring forth the best results for the United States. What makes us unique is the fact that as a whole, former U.S. Secretary of State Dr. Condoleezza Rice inspired employees as a community to bring forth the best results for the United States. What makes us unique is the fact that as a whole, those working under Dr. Rice were impacting the greater community of the United States people. And in order to positively impact one group, they had to function as a community themselves to develop solutions that were going to be most successful for the country.
Conclusion. Transformational leadership's positive influence. Inspirational motivation. Communication of excellence by great leaders. Idealized influence. Practices that instill dignity in followers correlated with a leader. Individualized consideration. When a leader is a mentor and attends to their followers' needs. Intellectual stimulation. A leader that encourages positive behavior and creativity. The 4 key behaviors of transformational leadership will lead to a workplace to success due to the amount of loyalty and positivity from employees and their leaders. Here is our reference page to close our PowerPoint.